In today's video, I decided to do things differently. We'll discuss a couple of topics that I hope you'll learn a thing or two from them. Before you start saying skatele cherry, this video is not about a cherry, but I will share a short story about a cherry near the end of this video. We will talk about interest rates, balloon payment, and whether it's a good idea to make a deposit or not. So before I make this intro any longer, welcome to Cast24 and welcome to this video. This video is about cars and finance, but I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just sharing what I know with regards to these topics. My career is something very different from this, but most of us buy cars through finance because not everyone has 500,000 just cruising in their bank account. So we need to familiarize ourselves with certain terms and the process involved in buying a car. So let's start with what I think is important: interest rates. So when the bank borrows you money, they expect it back with interest, which is calculated in percentages. Interest rate determines whether you will be paying 5,000 or 4,500 for your car. And that 500 difference might be small, but over a course of 6 years, that totals up to 36,000. The interest rate the bank will charge you will depend on your credit score. I explained the credit score in details in this video. You can check it out by clicking on this pop-up banner. So based on your credit profile, the bank will charge you an interest rate related to prime rate, which is currently sitting at 10.75%. So your interest rate may be plus or minus this prime. A good credit score earns you a minus prime interest rate because in the eyes of the lender, you are not a high risk, you are trustworthy. And on the other hand, a bad credit history will give you an opposite effect. The benefits of a professional account or a private bank is that some will give you an interest rate of prime minus 1%, prime minus 0.5%, or even a prime minus 2%. And this does make a difference. You can choose between a flexible or a fixed interest rate. To choose which one is best for you is just a guessing game, because no one knows for sure how the economy is going to behave, especially over a course of 6 years. So flexible rates means your interest rate is linked to prime. So if prime changes, so will your interest rate. For an example, when I bought my car, the prime rate at the time was 7.50%. and my interest rate was 6.50% because of the prime minus one I had. Because I had a flexible or variable interest rate, the rise in prime meant my interest rate goes up, and so did my monthly installment. And now prime is sitting at 10.75%, which means I'm repaying my car at an interest rate of 9.75%. A flexible rate is good because you get lower interest rates compared to the fixed one. And when the prime rate decreases, so does your rate and installment. With a fixed rate, you get charged the same interest rate for the duration of your loan term, which is not linked to prime. And because it's fixed, it's usually higher. This is a better option when you think interest rates will rise. For an example, if I opted for a fixed rate despite prime rising, my rate would have been the same throughout, no change in installment. Which of the two is better will depend on the economy and trajectory. And that's difficult to predict, as I mentioned. Moving on to a balloon payment. I'm sure most people buy cars with a balloon. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's always important to know what you're getting yourself into. So a balloon payment allows you to take a portion of your initial vehicle purchase price, put aside, which means you'll be financing a lower amount, which then decreases your monthly installment. But here's the catch. This amount that is set aside is owed at the end of your agreed contract term. Let me make an example. Say you want to finance a 2023 Polo Life costing around 420,000. And for some reason, someone converted you to take up a balloon of up to 30%. 30% of 420,000 is 126,000. This money will be removed from the initial cost of the vehicle, which means the money you will finance for the Polo Life will be 294,000. And this significantly reduces your monthly installment. But the 126,000 doesn't just disappear. At the end of 5 years or 6 years, depending on your contract terms, you will need to pay this amount back. The good thing about a balloon payment is the obvious: lower monthly installments, which means more available capital, and people lose this by buying cars they can't afford and taking balloon amounts that they can't raise in 3 months or less. A 420,000 car finance over 72 months and an interest rate of 10.75%, has a monthly installment of 8,032 rands. If you add the 30% balloon, your installment will decrease to 6,779 rands. This saves you an extra 1,000. This obviously makes cars more affordable and people to have a more disposable income. But on the other hand, the money at the end of your loan contract will still need to be paid back as well. This means that if you don't have 126,000 at the end of your contract as a lump sum, you will need to finance this amount, and you'll end up paying for your car for more than necessary, a losing game. Another problem with the balloon is when you default your payment for whatever reason, and that situation forces you to sell your car. The pandemic has taught us one thing, that nothing is guaranteed. Say you end up selling your car earlier than you anticipated. You will sell your car, but end up owing a large sum of money, something that is commonly known as a shortfall. So to avoid this, if you're taking a balloon, make sure you have a shortfall cover, but at the end of the day, just add another expense. Whether a balloon is a good thing or not, it's up to you to decide. For me, there are too many cons than pros to take up a balloon. The two situations I would consider taking up a balloon is when I'm taking an amount I can make it up in 3 months or less, or if I'm buying a car for public transportation, which will pay itself up. On to my next topic, which is about making a deposit for your car. So for every 50,000 you deposit, your monthly installment will decrease by roughly 1,000. So obviously it's advisable that when you make a deposit, it should be 50,000 or more to see its effects. I have a deposit of 5,000 That was economically also in there. Some people are really against putting a deposit for your car because they say it's a depreciating asset, so you're just wasting your money. But in my opinion, I think a deposit is a good thing, and it depends on your intention. Whether you want to finish paying for your car earlier or you want to lower your monthly installment, but don't want a balloon. If you want to lower your monthly installment, you can make a deposit at the start of your contract, which then decreases your monthly installment. Another option is to finance a car with or without a deposit, and during your contract term, make those deposits. Say you earn a 13 check, you can use that money to make a deposit on your loan account. But ask your banker to capitalize that money, because if you don't, it will just stay there in that account gathering dust. And also you should ask them not to change your monthly installment. What this effectively does is decrease the money you owe to the bank, and while keeping the same installment as before, which means you will fully repay your car before the agreed period, and you will pay less interest. Either way, both the methods gives you an advantage. Which one you choose will depend on what you want to achieve. Now lastly, let's talk about the chair you keep seeing. My colleague wanted me to help her buy a first car. She was undecided between the Tiguan 4 Pro and the Haval Jolon Super Luxury, which currently retail at 446,000. But she was given this quote, 483,000 for the Super Luxury. At first I thought they made a mistake, but if you look at it, this is the price of the Jolon S. Even if you add the on-road fees, this figure doesn't make sense. If she was on a rush to buy a car, maybe she would have went ahead with this deal. It's important to be aware of the latest pricing of a product. Compare and negotiate, guys. It's a trade at the end of the day. So after considering many factors, she ended up choosing the Tiguan 4 Pro, which was a sensible decision if you ask me. So the Tiguan 4 Pro Elite CVT is currently priced at 377,000. And if you add the on-road fees, you end up paying 387,000. We visited 3 dealerships. The first one gave us a quote, and they were only willing to remove the on-road fees and give us the car for 377,000, nothing more. We said we'll think about it, and we went on to look for a better deal. The second dealership was where I bought my car, so everything was easy. We showed them the first offer we got, and obviously they had to offer something more than this. He first said he would give us the car for 370,000. This was obviously better than the previous offer, but I knew they could do better than this. Long story short, his final offer was 363,900 with number plate personalization included. This means from the normal price she would have paid, which is 387,000, she is saving 24,000 from this deal. Too sweet to refuse. Me being Minage, I wanted to test my luck on the debt dealership by using these codes, but they said the best they can do is to match the price, but they can't offer number plate personalization. And obviously we walked away because we already had a sweeter deal on our hand. That's as far as I went. Ugelige handled the finance side and everything else is in her hands. If you have a short attention span like me, the one thing you should take from this video is that you should equip yourself with knowledge. It is power, especially if you know how to use it. That is it from this vid. If you have enjoyed it, you know what to do. We'll meet again on our next vid. Until next time. Peace.